Hi, Andy Stauffer with Stauffer and Sons Construction again. I thought I'd take this opportunity here. We've just poured a foundation for a new home here in Colorado Springs, and this is a neat opportunity to just demonstrate kind of how our foundation walls work. So what we're looking at here, standard in our industry in this region, things do differ around the country, but generally we're doing full poured concrete walls. Traditionally those are 8 inches thick, and the heights will vary. Generally will be in the 8 to 10 foot tall range. The footers are standard footers, would be 16 inch wide by 8 inches tall, but the foundation design is put together by our soils and geotechnical engineer. So what they'll do is they'll come and they'll do a soils test. They'll find out the properties of the soil through both a drill test as well as an open hole excavation after we actually complete the excavation. And their findings will then determine what goes into the construction of the footers, the pads, and the walls. And actually we've got a footer here and we have a pad there. So footers will be generally, again, 16 wide, 8 inches tall, and they will support our concrete walls. They get poured in place first before our formwork for our walls go in. Pads are basically islands or an isolated pad within a foundation, and they will be supporting posts that will come later. So the sizing of these things comes about by the geotechnical engineer's analysis of the soils report and essentially the bearing capacity of the soil. So what we're seeing in Colorado Springs a lot in these soil conditions is what we'll generally expect about a 1500 psi for bearing capacity. As the bearing capacity goes down and we don't have as much, then to support our house, what we end up doing is just engineering wider pads to accommodate that. Generally, the pads and the footers will not have rebar in them unless there's properties within the soil conditions that the engineer deems are somewhat a little unstable and require a little more lateral rigidity. So the rebar, all of our walls of course will have rebar in them, and generally there will be vertical rebar as well as horizontal. And here again, it's not a code issue so much as an engineering issue, and it's just a function of what the engineer calls out. We can put penetrations in walls. This is a penetration that we'll be putting a sewer line out to the septic. Now here's one thing you'll notice is in this house we have the sewer is exiting up here, but we do have a basement that has sewer lines for the toilets and the bathrooms and the bar in this area and shower and so forth that are below this. The reason for that is in this particular case, this is a fire rebuild in Black Forest. The septic system is existing and it's actually uphill of this home. So in this case what we'll do is all of the base plumbing will run to a point here in the mechanical area, and we will install an ejector pit, which is essentially a garbage disposal for sewage. And so it's a sealed unit, which you certainly would want that to be sealed considering its contents, and it'll go right about here. It will basically masticate or grind up the solid waste from the basement level, bring it up to elevation to where it can join all of the sewage lines from within the house, the waste lines, which will then, it'll dump in and then it'll gravity feed out to our septic tank and out to our leach field, which is already existing in this case. So those are basically foundation walls and a little bit of talk about ejector pits and sewage lines.